Thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. First of all, before we get into the thick of it, very importantly, this event is interpreted into international sign. So thank you very much to Tina and Natasha. They're going to be our interpreters today. You can find them in the participant list on the right. If you scroll down, they are both marked as interpreters. Now that everybody is arriving, thank you so much. This will be our final Rise Up networking event and also just our final Rise Up event, which is a bit sad. It's been 3 wonderful years, and we have met so many amazing people along the way, and we wanted to set this up also to just celebrate everybody that we met and to shed a bit of a spotlight on minoritized artists all over the world. So we are from Rise Up. Thank you very much to both Violetta and Jenny for setting this up. And thank you also to Gisela, our boss who created Rise Up, because without her, it wouldn't be here at all. Gisela, do you want to say a few words maybe? Thank you, Gisela. So as a very short summary of what Rise Up is, so Urzi, I think you just joined us. I'm going to mute you. But hello and welcome. So just a very short summary of what is Rise Up. It is a Horizon Europe funded project. The goal has always been to support minoritized languages and interconnect communities, which is exactly what this event is about as well, and to create a digital toolkit as well. So this, of course, is also a part of our digital toolkit in a way, as it will be uploaded afterwards. Can you go to the we have 5 main language communities that we have worked with the most. So there was the Cornish in the UK, the Aranese in between Spain and France. There was Burgenland, Croatia, and Aromanian and Seto all the way up in Estonia at the border to Russia. We are going to hear a bit more about these communities today because luckily we have been able to collaborate with artists from these communities as well in various projects. So can you, Violetta? I'm sorry, it's probably delayed a little bit. So I'm going to have to factor that in. So we had some wonderful communities. It works now. Some wonderful community events. We had Voices of Community, where we invited 5 people from these 5 different communities to come together in Barcelona to record an album, because we noticed that there are very few resources out there for minoritized languages, even just what they sound like for people who are not familiar with them, and also because we wanted to create an interconnection between them. So you will hear a bit more about that later on, and we were very lucky that most of them were able to join us today. You can also listen to the album if you scan the QR code here, and we will of course also post a link on our website. Another big community event was the Rise Up exhibition. So again, we invited 5 artists from the 5 different communities to create visual art pieces. And this exhibition traveled all over Europe. It made 7 stops. No, wait, more. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It made 9 stops in the end. Only 5 were originally planned, but more and more interest grew in it. So we had these 5 visual art pieces accompanied by panels showing more information about the communities themselves and also about minoritized languages in general. And of course, also, we are very lucky to have some of these artists here today who will also share some of their journey with us. Last but not least, we also had a dubbing and subbing workshop where we talked a little bit about how we can create new minoritized language audiovisual materials. All of this culminated in a really interesting roundtable, which is also recorded on our YouTube channel, in case you would like to check it out. There was some fantastic discussion going on there. It might be interesting for everybody who is interested in this. And upcoming, we have one more, which is we also conducted artist interviews with members from each of these 5 communities. And while some of the material on our social media is a bit shorter, these are deep dives. So the artist interviews themselves last for approximately 30 to 90 minutes. So if you really want to delve a bit deeper into the world of these artists, it's a fantastic opportunity. We're currently still checking it with all of the artists themselves, but it will be available in the next week. Yes, so to have one more look at the agenda and what is awaiting us today, we will talk about first artistic approaches, so individual artists from individual communities and their approaches. We will then also talk about artistic opportunities offered by various institutions. There will be a performance and some recorded videos by the Voices of Community, which are absolutely lovely. A short break. We will then also hear from the artists of the traveling exhibition, and then the creative salons, where people will be invited to share their own work and hear from each other, get feedback. What is also very, very cool, and I'm very, very glad that we were able to set this up, is we are going to create a live artwork here during the meeting. So we were able to invite Occitan artist Camp Liur, and Laurie is going to listen to everybody's presentations and then create an artwork on the spot, which will be shared at the very end of the meeting. And we will also have a question for you in between 2 of the presentation cycles where you can participate and put your input into the artwork as well. So I think that was enough from me. Now we are going to hear a bit more about the individual artistic approaches. And Felicia, could you share your screen, please? And
Oh,
thank you very much, Natasha.
hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi.
Amazing. Hello, everyone. Thank you for organizing this great event. I will now just try. Hmm. I don't know if I can share my screen.
There should be a small button. Are you in the online version or are you in the application?
Online version.
Okay, it should still be possible. We tested this earlier as well, as long as there isn't an audio element to it.
Mm,
Perfect. So it should be if you go all the way down to, there should be a share or
mhm.
freigeben, depending. What happens if you click on it?
Yeah, it's. I can only cancel.
You can
Cannot
only
share.
cancel. That is not ideal, of course.
Ah, wait a second. I think I get it. Okay, do
Yes,
you see the
perfect.
screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, sorry. Everything's good.
No worries. Technology is
Okay,
fickle.
so
Thank you so much, Felicia.
nice. You're welcome. Thank you for inviting.
The floor is
So,
yours.
do you, thank you. Do you all see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, hello everyone. I came here today to speak about minoritized languages expressed through theater. And I will explain a bit how I came to this. And the very first point of that is me speaking Sorbian, which is my mother tongue. Um, to be sure, it's not Serbian as many people here, but Sorbian with a O, if for those who don't know the language. coming from this region in East Germany, as you can see on the map. We have Upper Sorbian and Lower Sorbian, but I will not go too much into detail, but just as you have a bit of visualization. And here you have some Sorbian in the Sorbian dress. So thanks to this language that I speak with also English, German, and other, and French as my second mother tongue, I could get involved in a little bit of some projects. I'll come to this right now. So first, it led me to be involved in the youth organization YEN, Youth of European Nationalities, more first on a political orientation and involvement. But this was a bit my first step in the minority languages field, everything. And a bit later on, I got contacted by Phony Network, which is a network of different theaters of minority languages in Europe. And they asked me to help organize a gathering of the directors and the artists. So a lot of people of a lot of different countries. And we met the first time to plan a bit together how to co-create events. And then we actually co-created. So we went to the Dolomites in Italy, where there is the Ladin language with a D. I don't know if you heard about it before, but so we had people who speak Latin, but also Irish, Galician, Sorbian, Breton from Brittany, Kven. So we had also Yiddish. I probably forget some. It was about 40 people, 8 regional minority languages, plus English for to speak also in the daily life. We had 1 week, one place, which was a school, as you can see maybe on the picture, and we had to create one show altogether. So this was a very interesting week, and in this event I was into the coordination and the organization. So this allowed me to have more of an overall view of what was happening. And I could see really how amazing it was to bring this diversity together and to create a community out of it. And everyone was there together in really in a common way to express through art. And to me, it showed anything is possible if you can gather so many people and create a show in a week with so many languages. And I could see everyone also express their talent, their identity, their language, their background, and it was really for me a realization of what you can do through theater, how you can express your own self. And I put you here the link. I don't know why it's in 2 lines, but on the phony.rml theater.eu, you can see on the first page of the website, there is a little documentary on this event. So if you're interested about it, you can check the video and maybe you will learn more about it. So from there, I met people in the project, and we did later on a Sorbian and Galician co-production, which was also very interesting because the 2 actors you can see on the picture could use the puppets and the scene to communicate in their own languages, and sometimes they were repeating a word in both languages, so you could hear both languages. And this was also a very interesting co-production and way of working together. So this is just a little example like this that I wanted to share. But these experiences allowed me to put together a bit my interests in art, in languages, and to put that together in work. This wouldn't have been possible without contacts. This is a bit also the point with this, that we have an amazing network that we are creating. For example, this event we are having now, for me, is this way we have to connect with each other. However, no matter how our mother tongues are different, we can still create things together. And I find this really, really valuable, really interesting. So yes, and I talk about all this because Jenny, who is also part of Rise Up and who is also part of Yen, coming back to the beginning, gave me one day the contact of Rebecca, a Swiss director, and she was looking for people speaking a endangered language. So I was like, hello, I'm here, I speak Sorbian, and I would like to know more about your project. And she wanted to create a piece of theater, so a play called Mutterzungen, Mother Tongues, as you can see here on the screen. And this is now the project we are currently working on. So we are 3 performers. I am speaking Sorbian, another one is speaking Romansh, which is the language in Switzerland, and the third one is speaking Bamoun, a language spoken in Cameroon. And we did already 2 residencies of 3 weeks each, where we tried to write the play from scratch, using our respective languages, and also English, German, Swiss German, French, and sometimes other languages when we can. So you see the picture, it's an encounter in the dark. We decided to do it in as a sleepover, as if we were friends having a pajama party and conversing in the dark. And the audience is invited into this conversation, into this sleepover, to experience this conversation also auditively, with not only visually. And yeah, in this conversation, we are questioning our identities, what gets lost if a language gets lost, what is all linked to it, what is the whole world around the language. And yes, this brings a little bit of a question of what we want to transmit to the audience, what message do we want to translate or not, what do we say in our own language, what do we say in a language that might be understood but maybe also not, like English or French or German. But yeah, this is a bit the question we are having now, of what do we share, and not only with words. We have tried to use also audios of different people speaking other languages, because we also want to emphasize on this community of minoritized languages around the world. And we gathered some audios of different people. So we tried to put that also on speakers. We tried to use the projector for the writing part. And now we will work from April on also on the audio descriptive way. We will try to find different ways to transcribe also. And how do we bring this conversation accessible to most people possible? So this is a bit what we're going to work on. And we want to play also with the textures in the room, the landscape we create. So every element actually in the whole play can be used to bring a message. And the core of our play, which is as much the key of it and the challenge, is the multilinguality. And how do we play with it? And yes, how do we what do we say, what do we actually say or not say? And this is a very, very interesting process. It's still in process. It's gonna be produced until June, and we will have our first shows in June. I would be very happy to share more information about these shows we also have a call to contributions. As I said, we use sometimes audio from other people. So I could also share this document, because if any one of you would be willing to participate or read the document, or yeah, in any ways, it would be also amazing. And if you have any more questions um, about the project or anything else, I am also available. I give you here my contact. I'm very happy to answer anything about it. And yes, thank you. I don't know for the timing. I guess that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Wait, let me see if I can find the yes. Thank you so much. It was a really interesting insight into theatre and how it has also played a role in your life. And also thank you, because I know you were also a workshop leader at Voices of Community, so a woman of many skills. Does anybody have any questions for Felicia right now? Let's open it up to the audience.
May I?
Yes, let's go.
I'm really sorry that it's not going to be about theater, but I've never heard a Sorbian, like I've never met a Sorbian speaker, and there's something that I've always been wondering about Sorbian, if I may take this opportunity. I wanted to say whether, like, how entrenched, so to say, Sorbian is with German. So to say, is it possible to speak Serbian but not speak German? And I'm also wondering if people who are bilingual, whether they would tend to think in Sorbian or rather think in German, and specifically young people, like, watch media, how dependent, interdependent languages are of each other.
Um, yeah, I would say any Sorbian person would also speak German nowadays, because as they are living now in university, in the medias, and in the daily life, they also use German every day. But we have the luck to have also medias in Sorbian, to have the possibility to speak it also in schools. And it's a bit particular for me, because I grew up in France. So I don't have the really inside view of people living in East Germany or growing up there, but through my family, I could see a bit how that works. And yeah, how they think. I would say that my cousins, they probably think sometimes in Sorbian, sometimes in German. I guess it depends maybe on the context, and if they are more with the Sorbian people or German people. But we have the possibility to speak both. I mean, in this region, my grandmother, for example, she could sometimes speak only Sorbian in her village and with the people, and then would be cut out from the German part. But nowadays, I think they use German at least once a day, maybe in the grocery store at least, or so. Yes, I don't know if that answers your question. And for the French part, it's mostly me and my sister, because my mother went to France, and then I'm born there, but there is not any Sorbian community for now, not yet.
You're going to start one.
Yes, hopefully.
Thank you, Evelyn, for the question. If nobody else has a question,
I would have another question as well,
yes, please.
if you can hear me properly. Hello, Felicia.
Hello.
I wanted to ask, like, since I know that in Bautzen, Budishin, which is like the capital of the Sorbian speaking minority, there is like a bilingual theater there. It's the only German theater that has like this, or the only theater in Germany that has this additional group of minority plays. Is this what would you? Yeah, but would you just present it also planning on moving there, or and then another question, how could we as other minority artists, I don't know, maybe participate in this, or invite the project to come to Burgenland, to Vienna? Yeah, these are my two questions.
Okay. So your first question was about the theater in Bautzen, if the project would also be presented there, for example. You talk
Yeah,
about
or
Mutzi.
if you had the chance maybe to present it to them as well, or are they not, or is this too modern for a very classic theater?
Well, this theater was actually part of the network I was talking about. So when I did the encounter with 40 people, the German Sorbian theater was involved. So they are actually in this network a bit more international as well. And they are part of the people who we sent our project to. And we would like to actually move the project and go to Bautzen to show the play, or to go to Cameroon and show the play, or any other place actually. And this is what we are working on also now currently, because we are the four of us doing the whole part of creating the play and trying to find the fundings and contacting people to also show the show. And this would be really amazing if we could go to Burgenland or other places and bring the place. And I think the theater in Budapest is also open to these kind of things, but they also have they have a program and they plan things, I think, a bit more strictly. And I don't know if they have really the space to host us. And I didn't have the chance to speak with them yet, but I had a contact with cultural center in Budapest, for example. So I'm also trying to contact maybe other structures that might be interested in the projects and who maybe have more availability for it. Yeah, but I don't know if that answers well.
Well, that answers the question. Thank you. Paula.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Felicia. I mean, that is always the problem, right? Like creating art is the one thing, getting it to the people is the
Yes.
next thing. Yes. I also have at least 3 questions for you, but I think I'm going to keep them for the creative salons. So
Great.
thank you so much, Felicia.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you sharing, and hopefully one day it will come to Vienna. I would love to see it.
Thank you
Um,
very much.
and yes, I will see you afterwards in the creative salons.
Yes.
Now we're going to move on to a more non-European international perspective. So Selfa, thank you very much for joining us. Does the screen sharing work for you? Let me just check.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Good morning from Mexico.
Good
I'm
morning.
going to share with you a presentation, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you.
You can.
We see your screen. But I don't think I can hear you anymore, Selfa, unfortunately. Is that just me? Okay. Okay, it might be the internet. Let's see. It is quite a way away. Internet has to travel quite a bit. Selfa, I'm not sure if you can hear us anymore. I'm going to write it in the chat just in case.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know what happened. I moved. Sorry
okay.
again.
Oh, are you here twice now?
Twice. Really?
Interesting.
Ah.
I think so. But hey, it works as long as we can see you.
Okay. Okay.
Can you still control the screen, or is that
Uh,
linked to your previous self now? Okay, it
I
works.
think it's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
We can hear you. We're not going to question the digital twin situation. What happens, happens.
Okay. Thank you. Well,
Thank you very much.
thank you all. My name is Elfa Kuhul, and I am originally from the town of Oshuk, located in the southern of Mexico, in the state of Chiapas. I'm a speaker of the Mayan Celtal language. The name of my language is Batzilkop Celtal. Today I will be sharing about the importance of graphic design and digital publication for the Mayan Celtal language. To do so, I would like to delve a little deeper into the Mayan culture found a part of our territory. The Mayan culture is mainly found um, in the southern of Mexico, in the states of Chiapas, Campeche, Yucatan, Quintana Roo, and Tabasco, as well as in other countries like such as Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, and Honduras. Despite the changes in the daily lives of the Mayan peoples over time, traditions, worldviews, languages, ways of dressing, and forms of organization that have been adapted to the present day remain alive today. One of the most important features of this great diversity in linguistic diversity is that there are more than 30 Mayan languages, one is mine, that is the Batzilkoptzeltal. To speak of Mayan cultures is to speak of a great diversity of ways of understanding life. But why, despite this great cultural representation, we have lived for many years in context of deprivation, discrimination, and racism, and context of the linguistic and territorial dispossession. Uh, why do we still struggle today for spaces linked to art? Well, over the years, we have had Mayan college who have fought to spaces to participate in the arts, such as cinema, photography, theater, poetry, literature, music, painting, etc. And in other fields in which people from indigenous peoples, such as the Mayans, were not allowed to participate. Their own voices were not valued, or the representation of the Mayan peoples themselves wasn't hindered. The participation of an artistic creation of Maya people began many years ago, but it has not been an easy of fair journey. As I mentioned before, since these spaces have been won through the struggles and individuals, collectives, and communities. It has even been partly due to the Zapatista movement, which began to question the ways of seeing and understanding art, since before there was an overrepresentation in the hegemonic media. In other words, we had to confront the hegemonic media, which includes the visual arts. Um, For this reason, over the years and up to the present day, people belonging to the Mayan communities through the region, as well as some organizations, collectives, and communities, have accompanied us in the creation of our work, which is closely related to community communication and digital activism. For my part, thanks to my graphic design skills and technical skills in the use of tools to create graphic materials, I have shared in community learning and teaching spaces through popular education, where I have been able to share the learning of these tools to create designs, mainly for our magazine. In a community exercise, I have gathered work from Maya Tzeltal people, and on the other hand, we have formed an editorial design team and a creative team. For example, journalists, of course, graphic designers, layout artists, photographers, multimedia producers, and 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 in general, the visual production. The result of this work has been the creation of the issue number 2 of our magazine that calls Smek Up, that means the root of the word, and it's dedicated to the Tzeltal people from San Juan Cacuc. Although we still face obstacles such as lack of sustainability and time, the plan is to continue with what has already been achieved. But I am sure of one thing, that is that I believe that graphic design created by and for our people is a great step forward. And these are some examples of what we created in San Juan Cancun. And this is now our team of the community communicators in San Juan Cancun. And of course, the collective that is have the same name, is Make Up, as is the same name of the magazine. And I think that this is all what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Sofa.
Thank you very much.
That was a really, really interesting insight as well. Can I ask you immediately, the word that was on there, is that what means thank you in Mayan Tzeltal?
Boko Laval? Thank
Yes.
you. Yes.
That's an amazing bridge to our next section. Before we are going to see if anybody has questions for Selfa, I think now most people have arrived, and thank you again so much for joining us. We know this is a rather awkward time of the year. We know that everybody's still kind of waking up from Christmas and the New Year, so we truly appreciate it. So now that most people have arrived, we wanted to ask you for our artist who is going to create a live artwork, could you please in the chat write what thank you means in your language or your languages, even if you have multiple ones, because this will be included in the live artwork. Maybe, let's see, Laurie, are you here? Could you maybe say one or two words about it?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, hello. I'm Laurie. I'm living in south of France, in Occitania, and I'm an Occitan artist, and I'm doing a piece of art, if I can say, of this meeting. So yeah, I'm gonna use the thank you in your languages.
Yes, thank you so much. They will be incorporated in the middle, and there will also be small illustrations for each presentation. So I'm very much looking forward to the final result. Thank you so much for being the creative process that flows alongside this meeting. So while everybody is still writing it in the chat, and also just to mention, minoritized languages, of course, would be wonderful, but also if you speak, say, German or Spanish or whatever other language, please also do put them in the chat. As many languages as possible would be wonderful to see. Now that we have a bit of an artistic overview as well, Selfa, were there any questions for your presentation from the audience? I see the thank yous are coming in. Yes, we have a question from Evelyn.
Hello, I was wondering if there is any collaboration with governments, local or federal. So I've seen actually some really cool graphics used by the federal government in Mexico with minoritized languages. So have you had interest, contact?
It has been difficult because governments sometimes don't help the small collectives that we are working with technology, because maybe it's not the team an important team to work with. But and the small communities, the small governments at these days are very interesting in our work, because for example, we have an invitation to work in the cultural space that is for the government of San Juan Cancun, and they invited us to give this to share these tools, to give some this kind of artwork. And I think this is a positive advance.
Thank you. Maybe we have time for one more question. Everything else, I think, again, we would have to move to the creative salons at the end. Does anybody else have a question for Selfa? Okay, I would maybe have a question. Safa, how did you get into graphic art in the first place? Was it something that was always an interest of yours, or was it later on in life?
Oh well, the I always since I was a kid, I always loved the communication in general, and I tried to study communication. But there is maybe a lot of racism in universities because when I try to study, maybe the professors did not let me to study there for because we were indigenous. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I feel that it was not for me. So I prefer to study another thing that where I could feel more closely with my culture. And I study anthropology. But in anthropology, I realized that we can change the way of the understand of the communications. And I think that I I I learned by myself the graphic design, but maybe and for that reason I work with the small communities because I saw that the universities sometimes don't let us to study as indigenous people.
I see. Okay, but that's really interesting. So you also bring a really like anthropological lens to your art, which is, I think, something quite rare. So that's, oh, fascinating. Okay, so thank you so much. Could you say the thank you one more? I want to try and see if I can get it right.
Poco laval, vo
Wokolawal?
val.
Wokolawa.
Right.
Okay, I think I didn't butcher it too badly. Thank you very much. Um,
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are going to move on to the artistic opportunities that are out there. And we are very, very happy also that Europe Beyond Access was able to join us today. And we're going to hear a bit more about opportunities also for deaf artists. Let's see, could you share your screen? Let me see if that will work.
Thank you. Don't worry. I do not have a
Oh, yeah.
presentation itself to share the screen. I don't know you,
We
Susanna.
have you.
No, I don't
Okay.
have a presentation.
Okay.
Okay, so we have you, which is all that matters. Please, anything you would like to share. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you for the invitation to the Rise Up project. My name is Lorena Martinez Mier, and this is my sign. I am the consortium manager of European Access, and it's a pleasure for you today in an event honoring minoritized languages communities where sign languages hold an essential place. I want to start with explaining what is European Access and why we do this work. European Access is a large-scale international project supporting deaf and disabled artists to break through the barriers of the European cultural sector. Our mission is simple, to ensure that disabled and deaf artists can create, tour, be present, and be recognized as essential contributors to contemporary arts. And these include four major strands: co-productions and commissions, artistic laboratories and residencies, audience development, and capacity building and advocacy. And we're here today in the invitation because sign languages are minoritized languages. For deaf communities, languages identity, culture, and artistic lineage. Recognizing sign languages as part of Europe's linguistic diversity is essential to true cultural equity. This resonates deeply with my own background. Just like Cefa, growing up in Mexico, where indigenous languages survived despite centuries of pressure, I learned early that linguistic minority exists not only as a culture, but as a knowledge system. And this has shaped how I approach our work with deaf communities. Last year, we launched an European open call for productions, and to make it genuinely accessible, we translated the call into 14 sign languages, included international sign. And the results surprised us, even us, because we received an unprecedented number of applications from deaf artists across Europe. And this confirmed two things. The first one, that there is extraordinary talent from deaf artists in Europe. And the second, that access to information in your own language determines who can participate. This response set in motion structural changes inside of EBA. with two key outcomes out of this work. The first one was the deaf artist strategy. We began a deep investigation involving partners, curators, deaf consultancies such as late Fatula and Diana Anselmo, and the experiences of deaf artists in our labs and residences. The result is a deaf artist strategy, which focuses in curatorial development and deaf-led artistic knowledge, better support for sign language interpretations, clearer communication models, strengthening artist-interpreter relationship, and advocacy for deaf leadership across the project. This strategy came directly from our recognition that deaf artists were underrepresented, not because of lack of quality, but because of systemic barrier. Now we have restructured our budgets, our workflows, and our curatorial processes to change that. And the second outcome was an audience development and deaf working group. At the same time, many EVA partners expressed a desire to develop strategies specifically for deaf audiences. And this led to the creation of the Deaf Audience Development Working Group, where partners exchange practices on interpreter logistics, trust building with deaf communities, the role of deaf consultants, sign video communication, and identifying deaf-friendly programming. These working groups echo a crucial point. We must work on two parallel pathways, one with the artists and one with the audiences. This dual approach ensures that when deaf artists appear on stage, deaf audiences can be present, welcome, and represented. I want to share a personal reflection. In regions like in the Americas, in Mexico, where my cultural reference comes from, multilingualism, indigenous languages, and cultural hybridity make the concept of minority more fluid, probably. And languages are now seen as cultural treasure, finally. So I view the deaf community through this same lens. They are a linguistic and cultural minority. This is why events like today matter to us. They place sign languages in dialogue with other minoritized languages, highlighting shared struggle and shared artistry. To close, I want to move forward, I want to move with my colleague, Susanna Caldonazzi, that will continue presenting how we take these reflections and shape EVA communication, and in particular, the work of building relationship with the audiences in the Festival Oriente Occidente in Italy.
Thank you, Lorena, and hi, and nice to meet you all. Yes, my name is Susanna Caldonazzi, and I work in comms for EBA in the coordination meeting, but I'm also the communication manager at Oriente Occidente, which is a dance festival in the north of Italy. We started to work with the deaf community many years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, thanks to EBA, because we are the Italian partner of EBA since the first generation of the project. And we started to question ourselves about what does involvement or development of audiences from the deaf community means. We were lucky because Diana Anselmo, who is now the deaf consultant of EBA, was an internship here. They are Italian and they started to work with us when they were really young, because they were like 23 years old, student at the university. And meeting them, we basically understood what being deaf mean, and what having a person working in the staff and in the team is really important. So I think that for deaf strategy, one of the first things we should consider is open out the door of our teams, the doors of our of our structures, of our institution, because having a personal insight in the community and contact a person who is involved in the community directly, it's a great point of view for all of us, and it's a point of connection in some way between what we want to do and what they basically need. When we try to involve the community, we basically understood that they never felt invited in the cultural sector. So they never considered the possibility before to be involved in something about culture. So they were not considering the possibility of being audience. And this was the first awareness we got from this connection. And this was the point, the starting point in which we tried to understand how to make it different. And we understood that opening the doors of the teams, get in contact with the communities, basically asking the need. And third part, and this is what EBA basically does, is giving role models on the stages, because otherwise nobody can consider the possibility of being involved if there are no role models on the stages. So with these three focal points, we developed a strategy which is going on from since it's now, I think 7 years more or less. We are working with the deaf community, which is getting bigger every year. And we add tools, we involve them in the selection of the shows we are trying to have in Rovereto, which is our city, and the involvement, the collaboration with them is getting better. But I think that the basis what you said, that if we have the possibility to get in contact with each other, it's the only way we can make it together.
Thank you so much, Susanna. Thank you very much, Lorena. That was, again, amazing insight that I don't think we could have really gotten from other people. So thank you so much for presenting that perspective. I think, is that, Evelyn, is that still a question from last round, or do you have a question for this round? Okay, it might have been, as we say in our meetings, an old hand.
Yes, it's an old hand, sorry.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions for Lorena and Susanna? Okay, I think everybody's still soaking it in, which is very good because we will still have the creative salons at the end. So let it calculate in your brain. Thank you both so much. We are now going to move on to Penn International. Urzi, is it able? Are you able to share your screen?
Hey, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. And I didn't try to share because I wasn't sure whether I would mix with others. So let's see if I can share my screen. All right, give me a second. Here we go. Why doesn't it let me? Oh yeah, here we are. Okay. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So I'll try to go pretty fast because there are quite a few slides. So this is a project that I've been working in, that it's open right now, and I'll try to send a couple of links in the chat box. So if anyone is interested, I guess Penn International. I don't know if you know about it, but it's one of the oldest associations to support writers and freedom of speech. It was born in 1921, so over 100 years. And there are several committees. Perhaps the most known is the Writers in Prison, that supports, as the name says, prison writers that are persecuted and repressed. And there are other committees like the Committee for Peace, Women Writers Committee, and the Translation and Linguistic Rights Committee that I'm chairing right now in my last year after the second, because in October someone else will come. So in this committee is where I'm working. We have several minorities languages represented here. You can read in Catalan, Basque, Galician, Occitan, Welsh, Romanian, and even some indigenous centers like Chiapas and Quechua, and others, let's say more national centers, also have some indigenous writers and indigenous languages represented. How we come from 1921 to this reality? So one of the models we've been using in recent years is that one of the worst attacks against the freedom of speech is the loss of a language. So I think we can all agree that the attacks against freedom of speech is not only what we are seeing now in so many countries, but also what's been happening and what happened with so many languages as well. I myself, I am a Basque, and our Pen Center was formed in 2004 for the third time. We have briefly two more Pen Centers in the 50s and in the 80s. So what happened in 2003 was that our only newspaper in Basque language was closed by the Spanish authorities. You can see in the picture down here, and a huge demonstration was done against it. There was a campaign in Europe, especially led by Catalan Pen, and somehow we said, okay, it's great, Catalans are supporting us, we're really thankful for that, but it's time for us to also to create our own Pen Center. And then let me share the other organization where I work as well, which is called Garavide, and works especially in Latin America, but not only, somehow with solidarity and linguistic cooperation, somehow explaining our work with the language and to revitalize the language for more than 6 decades. And so after this work, we have created a lot of connections with so many countries in North America, South America, some in Africa, and so on. So how are these two connected? Well, you have some ideas there, but I'm moving forward. I'll share later the link of all this so you can get closer attention of it. So, as you know, 2019 was the International Year of Indigenous Languages, and one of the participants in Garavide workshop contacted us, Basque Pen, to see whether we could make some book of indigenous writers of all around the world. We get some funding, we did a call for poem, but in the end, the project failed, and well, we just thought next time better. So 1 year later, well, at the same time, the Translation and Linguistic Rights Committee was already expanding out of Europe, organizing congresses and meetings in South Africa with the great African participation, in India, in Switzerland, in Chiapas. But then all of a sudden, it's all closed. You know, the pandemic came, and ironically, it's when I was elected to chair this committee in 2020. So we have to take this pause. We can gather again in person. What can we do? In the Basque Country, we have a very special movie called Bizkar Shoro, somehow showing how the Basque language was lost in the 20th century in Iparralde, in the French part. So we were thinking, what can we do to keep reclaiming the importance of indigenous and minoritized languages? So that's how we came with this project. Okay, we cannot gather, but we all learned a lot about communication, some digitals and things like that. So let's celebrate the Mother Language Day at home with a marathon of indigenous languages or endangered languages poems. Let's make it easy so that anyone can participate, no matter if they are submitting it from Berlin, New York, or the Sahara Desert. So it had to be easy to do, easy to submit, and we realized we wanted only poems in the original language, but at the same time, we needed some sort of translation, so we would have a written text where we could have the subtitles. We got the support of the Pen Secretariat in London, and well, at the end of the day, everybody was happy, and we published more than 30 poems on that day. But we realized it was a huge work. And this takes us to this year call for poem, where you can see some of the writers in languages Swahili, Circassian, Catalan, Saha, Greenlandic, and so many other languages of all around Europe and all around the world. I'll go. So the request is very easy. It's just a poem read or recited by the author. Yes, can you hear me? So we ask is to be on panoramic mode, short poem, no editing, no post-production, just the poet reciting the poem. We do ask to check the audio because we want to hear the language. And then, as I mentioned, we request a file, a text file, a written text of the poem with the original version and at least one translation. And if they have more, it's okay. It's very easy to upload to YouTube all these translations. And then, well, a short sentence about the language. So this is how we started. But for the next year, 2022, we realized that there was so much work for the first to publish all of them in a single day. And even if it got some notoriety to the day, we realized as well that it didn't have the poems themselves. I mean, couldn't individualize. So we decided to take all the marathon through a whole month. And yeah, it was well, you can see some of the details, but we requested shorter videos. There are a couple of links for the Sami and Kachikal videos. We are really powerful. I invite you to visit our channel and see and watch those poems later. After 5 years, we're having more submissions and views than ever. We have some questions as well, how to reach further, how to have a bigger impact. Now, practically all the videos have subtitles in the original language. We still have some problems in some languages that do not write in Latin alphabet. I mean, Cyrillic or Arabic, that's fine, but there are some Asian alphabets that we are having problems. We hope to fix that soon. Well, there are also some of the links of the poems I invite you to view later from Australia and Occitan and Yuchi in North America. Why do we request only original model poems? Well, there are different arguments, and if there are questions, we can explain, but we really want to show existing living poems and living authors and living languages. So that's why the idea is not to have traditional old songs. Sometimes, when languages have no speakers, but there may be still some memories of old songs, which is fine, it's great, and they're invaluable. But what we celebrate is that the language is alive, so we somehow connect with the ancestors, but we project to the future, and we use the language for everything, no matter for what, to have fun, to pass the language, and so on. I'm going. We also request to have clean videos, so that sometimes they submit with already closed captions, usually in English, sometimes in Spanish, depending on the region. But we want to remind that not everybody speaks English. So that's why we say we will upload the subtitles in YouTube as an option. But sometimes we may pick not English subtitles, but in Spanish or French, or maybe one poet is interested in a poem and translate it into their own language. So we also you could have some connections from south to south. So some of the challenges is to increase the impact. We realize that when the poet gets involved, the views skyrocket. So to have all these poets and linguistic activists involved, and to do it even more collective for the decision making, because at the end of the day, there's usually these things work in a small group. So yeah, and well, we don't really care about the definition of what a minorities language is, what indigenous is, and much less about the border of language and dialect and so on. So we welcome maybe not the, let's say, mainstream Spanish, English, German, French language, but other than that, I mean, it's open, and we try to be as inclusive as possible. So this is one of the sentences that some youth Basque activists used, and this goes as: Basque language is not a treasure, it's our language. And it will remain, we want with us to remain as a museum exhibition or a beautiful folkloric element for tourists. We will ensure that it crosses all aspects of young people's lives, we're going to live in Basque language in all areas. So that was some kind of maybe some provocation, but I think it's very nice to see what we need the languages for. So, summarizing, each new poem created in a minorities language revitalizes that language and empowers the artist. And we display all these poems alongside so many other languages that it really gives us a feeling of pride to many communities. That's our experience. Right now we have about 260 poems. Oh, this is wrong. It should be 150 languages. And so therefore, we invite you all to participate in the next edition. It's open. So, guys, kiesanak barkatu eta onak gogoan hartu. Forgive the bad words and remember the good ones. That's, I don't know if I took perhaps too much of your time. Let me just send a couple of links of the project. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or suggestions, whatever, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Urtsi. Am I pronouncing your name right, by the way? Is it Urtsi?
Yeah, Urtsi is fine, yeah.
Okay.
But some of the languages that are being represented here, we have videos from the past. But just a hint, we don't have yet any poems in Cornish or in Sorbian. So here we go, just saying.
Yeah, wink, wink to the audience. So thank you very much. In the spirit of your last slide, I think there were a lot of good words in there and not a lot of bad words. So thank you. I'm going to move any questions for you maybe to the salon. So we still have enough time for our last presenter for the opportunities, which will be Laura. And we already tested the screen sharing, so hopefully that will all work out.
Hi everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. It is
Great. I'm
working.
happy we tried it before. So good afternoon, everybody. Just first of all, I'd like to thank you for the invitation to take part in this, very meaningful and timely conversation. And I think also all of the bigger speakers we've heard so far, the projects are very inspiring, and I think it also there are many bridges that can be built between this and the initiative I'm just going to present right now. So my name is Laura Caillet, and I work as a consultant with the Indigenous Peoples and Minorities section of the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. And today I'll be speaking a bit about the Minority Artists for Human Rights initiative, and in particular, one of its key components, which may be of interest to the artist here, and which connects as well with these themes of minority languages, but also art as a form of language itself, which is the international contest for minority artists. In just a nutshell, the contest really aims to provide a platform of support, but also visibility for minority artists who act as human rights defenders and who use creative means to advance human rights through the power of art. The initiative was launched in 2022, and it's now supported by a diverse coalition of partners, which include civil society organizations that you may already know of, including Freemuse, which is civil society organization defending the right to artistic freedom, Minority Rights Group, which is also a leading organization in the area of minority rights, as well as other institutions like the City of Geneva or the Centre des Arts of the International School of Geneva. At the start of this initiative, I think I should go back a few
Laura,
years
sorry.
before.
I think I'm remembering this from when you showed us the slides earlier, that there were more, because right now we're still on the first one. Is that correct?
I'll just move to the next one. I'll provide
Okay,
just
but
a
it's
few
okay
words
that we're still on
of
the first
background.
one.
And,
Okay, I just didn't want you to miss
yeah.
any.
Thanks
Thank you.
for raising. I guess at the start of initiative, actually, it's the right moment to change slide. Is the question of like why, and there were three main observations. The first one is a question around communication. How can we talk about human rights, in particular minority rights, in a way that it can resonate with people's minds, but also their hearts, in a world that is increasingly fragmented. And this started with the recognition that art, in particular minority artist creation, is a powerful language that is often more accessible, emotionally engaging, but also immediate than traditional advocacy. The second observation is, of course, the global context. We are witnessing a rising hatred, discrimination, conflict, and human rights violations, as well as erasure of aspects of minority identities, including language. And in this environment, the question was, how can we support arts that influence the way people think and provoke reflection and open spaces for dialogues among diverse communities. And the third, and probably the most important point, is the key role of minority artists, but also the threats that they face across the world, including discrimination, marginalization, censorship, as well as diverse form of violent attacks or even imprisonment in certain contexts. So in this context, the idea emerged to create a platform that could support minority artists in their role as human rights defenders, but also amplify their reach. And the idea was not only to have this platform that speaks about minority artists, but rather a platform for and by minority artists themselves. So just to illustrate this point about Our Voices Matter, here on the screen you see an abstract from a statement that was made by the 2025 laureates of the contest last November at the UN Permanent Forum on Minority Issues. And this statement was read by a Jamaican artist from Barbados called Lindsay Collins. And in this statement, Lindsay emphasized the importance of being heard, that the voice of minority artists matter, but also spoke about the struggle to belong, to survive, to create without fear. And she stressed the importance of continuing to use art as an act of resistance, as well as the need for sustained support for minority artists. So back in 2022, we began with very limited means and quite, modestly, I should say. We organized the first contest on the theme of statelessness without knowing where this would lead. And since then, the program has grown. It now includes annual contests, exhibitions, as well as an expanding network of allies and artists as well. And I should say here that a very important point is that over the years, the program has been largely shaped by feedback from the artist laureate themselves. And we are in constant dialogue with the community of artists who are part of this initiative. I'd like just to show you, before moving into the contest, one short video by an artist who is actually one of the laureates of the 2024 edition. Her name is Shu Wai. And she talks about the role that minority artists play, especially she's from Myanmar and now lives in exile in France. I should give you a heads up, the sound is a bit loud, so if you want to make sure it doesn't hurt your ears, I hope, maybe put the volume a bit down. I'll launch it now.
My artwork are mostly about using traditional fabric and traditional old vintage newspaper collage and talking about women's situations in my country. I really believe art is really important. Before I doubt for sure, but now I know art is really important, because if this art is not important, the military, they won't put these giant repressions on artists or someone like a girl who just creating an artwork. I want to give the strength and keep going and keep sharing, keep creating. And one day, even though we're just surrounded by the difficulty, that is only the beauty of resistance and resilience. And we artists will find the beauty in the difficulty.
So Chu is actually among the 30 laureates of the contest, all of the editions that were organized since 2022. And overall, the initiative aims to build a program to support minority artists, human rights defenders in the face of invisibility, but also threats that they face across the world. It also aims to leverage the power of art in all its form, not only visual art, but also other form of artistic expression, with the aim of driving positive global action for human rights, as well as minority rights. And also finally to raise awareness, connect and empower through arts, including through educational activities with the youth, where artists actually act as role model for minority youth as well as and also the broader group of youth. If you want to know more about the initiative, you can actually scan the QR code on the left, and there is also a video here as well. So as I was saying, at the core of it is the International Contest for Minority Artists that was first launched in 2022. Every year it's organized with various themes, which have included so far statelessness in 2022, intersectionality in 2023, memory in the present in 2024, and belonging, place, and loss last year. Again, the catalogs are available online as well if you want to discover and learn more about the wonderful artists who've been part of this initiative every year. So last year the theme was belonging, place, and loss. It's just to give you an example of what we do concretely, but in November 2025, eight awards were announced by an independent jury of leading voices in human rights, arts, and culture. Laureates come from very different countries around the world. They're all minority or indigenous artists, so they came from Brazil, Syria, Kenya, Sudan, Barbados, Albania, Mexico, and Germany. But over the years, there are way more contexts from which the artists have come as well. And so they came to Geneva for a week to join the Minority Artist Week. So we do an award ceremony, but also a program standing really at the intersection of arts and human rights to increase visibility on what they do, but also to make sure that they can all build connection among themselves as well. And I just wanted to show you this. It's actually one of the pieces that they created all together last November when they were all in Geneva. And now
I'm a creative expert.
I'll just move to the, in the interest of time, to the current edition of the 2026 contest. But before that, you saw actually just the beginning of a video featuring Babatunde Tribe Akande, who is an artist from Nigeria. You can find all of these videos on the YouTube channel of OHCHR if you want to learn more about the artist. So this year, we launched the new edition of the contest on the 18th of December 2025, and applications can be sent up until the 1st of March 2026. So for the 5th edition of the contest, the theme is war and reconciliation. So any artist who identify as belonging to a national, ethnic, religious, or linguistic minority is invited to apply. Please do so if you're interested, and if your work also talks about peace and war and reconciliation, which is the theme of this year's contest. I should say as well that all artistic mediums are eligible. When applying, you just need to submit high quality of up to 5 works of art, which are related to the, you need to submit electronic images, of 5 works of art, which are related to the theme, as well as a few biographical information and your vision statement. The call for application is available in all UN languages. I hope you're able to click on the link through the PowerPoint. I don't know if that works, but otherwise you also have the QR code on the right of the screen. So don't hesitate, if you know of any artists, if yourself work on these themes, we welcome all application up until the 1st of March. And of course, here are our contacts. We would be very happy to continue building those connections to see how we can also engage together with the initiative, collaborate. And this initiative has been really building on connection and solidarity among communities of artists and allies. So, I'm very happy to be joining this discussion today, but also hopefully we can stay in touch afterwards. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you have any question or any comment, happy to discuss with you.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for joining us. I also went through the catalogs and I was really, really impressed by the immense work and thought that went into those pieces. So it's just a very important thing, I think, that you are doing. Yes, in the terms of timekeeping, as you already mentioned, I think any questions we will probably move to the creative salons. And just so everybody has an overview, the creative salons will be 10 minutes shorter, but we will still have around 40 minutes to talk. So there will be one more event before the break. Which will be we will have a small performance by Voices of Community, the artists who collaborated for Rise Up in a residency in Barcelona. And after that, after you have enjoyed their pieces, we are all going to enjoy a tea or a coffee. So I would say we are going to start maybe with a video from Brett. I think he was here briefly. Unfortunately, he had to leave again, but this is why he recorded the video, because he didn't know if he could be here fully. And it is a lovely rendition of a piece that he recorded. And then we're going to move on to 3 other very short performances just to enjoy.
Hello, my name is Brett Hiob and I speak the Seto language. Historically, Setos have been living in the southeast corner of Estonia, but nowadays also all over the country. I will be singing a song which was written by my friend Svetlana Roht, and it talks about her family home, which she sadly cannot visit anymore because the border nowadays splits the historic Setomaa in 2, and this is unfortunately the case for many people. And I am playing the traditional Seto instrument called Hely Hannaga Kannel. Sietokese ärjo kanti mälestyisi knikähe. Seal UNESCO näitä kaitses koni peris häädüse. Seal UNESCO näitä kaitses koni peris häädüse. Uma mama tarjaknid Moskvamki muulase. Esetalo kõva palgi lautu võõrama jähe. Esetalo kõva palgi lautu võõrama jähe. Tassilu on laudalak ja plita haaval ärjo siis. Koduvad ümber on takk ja leppävõõsa hommeni. Koduvad ümber on takk ja leppävõõsa hommeni. Lättemaa noodid ei lööve, uibo amki määnü. Unetõeb no kõik on millo silm Siberis häädüny. Unetõeb no kõik on millo silm Siberis häädüny. Tie Eesti tuumata ja lugu Seto silmä viist. Seto jääly kaotajast kimmehen on pantu piir. Seto jääly kaotajast kimmehen on pantu piir. Syäle väiksom lüüdy, väiko rahvas vedety. Liisnemaa on ära antu, Vinnemaale kingity. Liisnemaa on ära antu, naabritele kingity.
So thank you for recording that video, Brett. Just amazing. Yes, thank you so much. If you want to hear more from Brett or from any of our other Voices of Community, the album is available both on YouTube and also on our website, where you can listen to their recordings. It is a mixture of song and poetry. So maybe now we're going to have some poetry. Daniela, maybe you would like to share some Aromanian poetry with us, and this will be live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation and happy to be here with you. I will recite a poem by Spiro Fuchi from the volume I have here with me, Soare Disicat. The poem is entitled Mănuși albi, so white gloves. Ne băgăm și noi mănuși albi, că ne ziseră. M-ați băgați ahtarii mănuși, fără dialti, vă părăți și voi ca lanț. Suscară pădurii, chețăli înturusiră tăpoarli, o, voi mini cripati, cum vă știu tuți, și care vă sfațiți albi. Ne băgăm și noi mănuși albi, ne feațărim domni cu mănuși albi. Ne deadiră cățutii să vătămăm libertatea, care păștea trumunțlia noștri. Lucrăm cu mănuși albi. Ma când îl vătămăm, frațele zghiliră prin limba noastră, limba rămânească, și nășii, tru limba noastră, navzir. Mănuși albi, ahusiti di sânzi, cum ti păreți nicati tru lapti? Ca noi vă videm ahundusiti tru sânzili a lor, piciorii a noștri. Mănuși albi, ahusiti di sânzi, vă avum băgată ca spărăm ca lanț, ma când vă scuteam, se vedea cum carnea era faptă cinușă, cu mâinile adjunti scheletii, cum sișim dinaintea lumilei. Oh, năfeații mănuși albi, ma care vă speală sânzile ascumt sub mănușile șcretii. Thank you very much. I think I have sent Maika kind of an interpretation of the poem, which is has as a central metaphor the white gloves, kind of a sign of civilization, but for a people that, let's say, who managed to preserve its identity and language throughout the centuries, sacrificing a lot, but still, let's say, facing, let's say, the threat of cultural and linguistic assimilation. So Spiro Fuchi, in my opinion, is one of the greatest Aromanian poets now living in Albania. And since I hope I have a little bit time to talk about my projects, at least for this year, I intend to collaborate for a volume entitled Albanian Literature as World Literature, but where one of the sections will be dedicated to the minority literatures, or let's say literatures in the minority languages as part of the Albanian, let's say, linguistic, literary, and also cultural heritage. So probably a chapter in this volume will be dedicated to Spiro Fuchi's poetry, which in general is not known, not even in Albania, unfortunately.
Thank you so much, Daniela. And we would love to hear more of what you've been working on as well in the creative salons. And if people want to hear more of Daniela's beautiful voice reading poetry, we have so many online as well, where you have shared, I think it was 5 or 6 or 7 of them, just all of them online. So yes, thank you so much for sharing your voice also today.
Thank you.
And yes, afterwards, hopefully we will hear even more from you and also from other Aromanian artists and speakers. We will now move on to Marina, if that's okay. Another small live performance.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. Wasn't sure if it's going to have this micro that is special. You hear me okay?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Yeah. I was since the beginning thinking, oh, it doesn't work. No, so I start if you want. I will sing the national anthem of Occitania. I've heard somebody from Occitania is here, so maybe this person knows this song too. So hope you enjoy it. Aqueres muntanyes que tan altes són, men peixent de vede més amors a on són. Muntanyes coronades tuteran de nyeu, tan autès veres que vos punet seu. Se cantes perquè cantes, cantes pas per jo, cantes per ma illa, que no hi preste jo. Muntanyes araneses a unes pasturs és on regalades troben els jordurs. Nostiamus veiguerets com roser florir, volem com els pares guardam-vos morir. Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Marina. If you had been thinking, wow, her voice sounds like a princess, in fact, she also does dubbing of Disney videos on her YouTube channel, which sound absolutely lovely, in case you would like to check them out in Aranese. And also, of course, a lot of other YouTube videos online. And hopefully we will also hear more from you and what you have been working on in the creative salons. So yes, thank you very much, Marina. Especially live, incredible. So yes, thank you so much. Which brings us to our last one, which was Fiona. Fiona is actually here today, but she put together an absolutely beautiful, I want to say, mini documentary, an audiovisual masterpiece of what she has been working on ever since Rise Up. And this will lead us into the break. Thank you so much, Fiona, and hopefully from you as well. We will hear a bit more later on. So this will be the last one before the break.
So this is a progress report on poetry and music from me, Fiona O'Clery in Cornwall. The language residency at Esfronteira in Barcelona represents my first attempt at writing songs in any language, not only Cornish. To our chosen bird theme, I wrote 3 songs. Palores, a somewhat cynical take on nationalist tropes. Gweneli Hekoges, which means swallows and cuckoos, and is about local attitudes to migration, and Hymne Thenu Legalos, Hymn to the Owl of Power. I'm still working with that. It was also my first taste of a recording studio, all great fun, except for getting COVID afterwards on the way home. I grew increasingly interested in the line between poem and song, and I believe that there isn't a single line, and the choice of a language for any particular work is important. Gweneli Hekoges doesn't work conceptually, for instance, I think, because the harmonies, even if they were sung really nicely by someone, obscure the meaning. It needs to be in the language of people who oppose migration within the UK, and that means English. Last March, I got a nice grant from the English Arts Council to develop my creative practice by examining the role of the lyric in Cornish. It included going to a Greek island for a week, playing the lyre, doing work with academics and exploring the idea of sung poetry, working with other poets, one in particular. The project is called Lyric Cornish. I'm interested in how the sound of the words might drive the shape of a melody, and have experimented with this idea of mirroring words and melody. This is Sappho's Fragment 2 in Cornish. Sung poetry is ancient. Just as small children dance naturally, their first attempts at song are likely to be word-driven with very simple melodies. Homer's Iliad was a poem that was sung. Bardic music across Europe was poetry that was sung. In Poland now, post-war political cabaret is described as sung poetry. And I want to be able to deliver a poem in Cornish to an audience that might not understand it and augment it with music. I'm very concerned by the internalized misogyny that I've witnessed in freelance arts productions as women struggle for identity and recognition without formal employment structures. I feel strongly that the way to heal this is to offer more support to others, and fighting the patriarchy means supporting all women. So in September, I did a public ritual performance, Blood Lyric, during the hour of the blood moon. It was an enactment of the Descent of Inanna, a Sumerian mythic story. I relied heavily on video and props, and also turning myself into a china clay golem with lots of china clay. It was all in Cornish, and people needed to feel the meaning of the story rather than understand the words. So here's a bit of it from the part where Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth, is processing life and death in the underworld. You can't see me, this is just the video backdrop. The full project will be viewable soon. Mire gerðis, war and kof, the and kof, then pre my thessany, fervis all anotho, ithov arta and pre, ithov arta and pre, mam, corf, mam, and nor, and vam, hag, and floch. Oma awolis, itestav, itevav, itefrezav, gueles, espleges, guithes, me addressed these, trest them of me addressed these. Hem you agen ein hinseth, hem you agen ein perfect, you fortho anon.
Thank you so much, Fiona. I cannot begin to think how much work this must have been. It's truly, truly so impressive. And we really hope that your continued art journey is going to be equally mind-blowing. So thank you all so much to all the voices of community. Thank you to Micah, who helped organize it. And was a huge part of it. Thank you to Jenny, thank you to Violetta, thank you to just that this happened. So we are now going to go into the break. everybody process all the art that we just experienced with some tea, coffee, maybe a cake if you have one. And we're going to meet back here, I want to say in 10 minutes. So I would say probably 15:55, and then we are going to hear a bit more from the artists that contributed to the exhibition of Rise Up, and then we're going to move into the creative salons. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great break. People slowly coming back in. Thank you again, Marina, for that performance. Can't believe that was live.
Thanks
Just
to invite me.
Of course, and just for people who spontaneously became a fan, we do also have an artist interview with Marina, which will be up rather soon. Okay. Let's give people one more minute, and then we will delve into the exhibition. Konstantin, who is that behind you?
No Sheila anymore. No, it's
No.
I think it was a friend of my dad's self-portrait. He's been gone for a long time, so
It
I don't know.
looks amazing.
It's also a bit disturbing, maybe for
I mean, it looks like he's glimpsing over your
participants.
shoulder.
Yes.
Means we actually have one more participant, and we will now all be haunted. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for coming back. We will have one more presentation from the artists that contributed to our exhibition. And then we are going to delve into the creative salons. They will be respectively hosted by Konstantin for creative writing, by Elizabeth for music, and then Teano, who we're going to hear more from in a bit for visual art. And we are also going to split up into them, so if any technical issues or something arise, you can always let us know. But for now, Teano, would you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the exhibition?
Hi everyone, how are you? Thank you for having me. And I would like to share a brief presentation so you can just visually see what I'm talking about. Just give me a second. Can you see the presentation now?
Not yet.
Let me see what's the issue. It says connecting. I'm waiting for the connection.
Okay, connecting doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll do it the other way around and we'll start with Leanne. And in the meantime,
Yeah,
if
I'll try.
it doesn't work for you, you can also send it to us via email, and then we will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leanne, you also contributed to the exhibition and created a fantastic artwork. Could you please tell us a little bit more about that?
I'm just going to evict. I have a little guest. I'm going to evict her before she moves away off my other screen. So did that. Leanne V. I'm Leanne. My bardic name is Newland Stair. I do work through both. I'm primarily, I would say, a writer, but I've been doing art visual art for as long as I can remember, mostly traditional. And then in the last sort of couple of years, I've gotten into doing digital art. Yeah, and I'm just going to see if I can share my screen. I haven't so much got a presentation as just a series of images I'm going to throw at you.
Which makes sense for visual art.
Yes. So hopefully you can all see that.
Yes, we can.
This is my piece from the exhibition. It's called Deurgenen, which means come with us in Cornish. And it's, I mean, I have sort of, my style is sort of very much filtered through that sort of 80s, 90s fake retro nostalgia, candy colored kind of stuff. Queer as all hell, just colors. So I wanted to do something bright. I also specifically didn't want any beaches. I didn't want any chuffs. As much as I love chuffs, that's the national bird of Cornwall. You see them a lot when you're talking about the language. I didn't want, tartan or anything like that. I wanted something that you wouldn't normally see representing us. So I chose this image. I will show you the sort of historical reference. The person in this image is based on this engraving from the 18th century of a woman called Dolly Pentreth, who lived in Porthennis, Mousel, in the sort of west of Cornwall, which is a small, very small fishing village that is now largely second homes. And she is widely and incorrectly said to be the last speaker of the Cornish language. Obviously, there are at least 3 of us here today, so I don't know who they've been asking, but I tend to say the last speaker of the language hasn't been born yet. But it's sort of widely reported. She died in 1777, and her existence was sort of promoted by this English antiquarian who didn't really bother asking anyone else if maybe they understood what she was saying, which we think they did. So I wanted to incorporate her as a symbol of the language, but I've also sort of been fighting against her as a symbol of the language, if that makes sense. I sort of see there being 2 dollies. One is the sort of what I call sort of the patron saint of the death of the Cornish language, this kind of symbol of here's the proof. We can point to Dolly and say she died. We know the date of her death, therefore we know the date of the Cornish language. And so what I wanted to do is take that image and erase her face from the narrative, erase this sort of patron saint of the death of Cornish, and replace it with the vibrancy that I see in the Cornish language today. So you can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. What I've done is taken that, and I've got a big old rainbow of light, which to me represents sort of the diversity of Cornish, all its varieties, all its possibilities, and then a bunch of Cornish wildflowers. These image of wildflowers to me is a important one because they're very natural representations of our landscape, and our landscape to me is very heavily tied with our language. So I'll show you some pictures. This is gorse, also called furze, which is called aithin in Cornish. I use, you can just about see it here, Cornish heath, caceza. And those 2 are both sort of, I'd say, the most strongly associated with Cornwall of our wildflowers. I also put in these, which you can just see at the bottom here. These are ribwort plantain, that's their official name. I don't think anyone in Cornwall calls them that. There's a dialect term, hardheads, and penocallas in Cornish. And I did a very quick, you'll have to excuse how rough this is, a very quick mock-up of what my granddad, my grampy taught me. Grampy taught me that if you wrap the stem over just behind the head like that, and then pull back on it, you can fire the head at people. And this is, I guess, cultural knowledge that we passed down from my grampy to me. I wanted to include them. And I chose these symbols really, and this as a picture. I really wanted to have some words from the Cornish language on there, and I chose it as a message. I decided that the most valuable audience to me was Cornish people who don't speak Cornish yet, which is most of the Cornish population. That's why I chose this phrasing "Diolch Gennan," to say, look, we're here. We've got this vibrant, bright culture going on, this language that's growing like a wildflower, and you can be part of it. Yeah, so that's sort of the story behind the art. And I think we were asked as well to talk a little bit about our experiences working with the exhibition. And just I can't speak highly enough of just what a wonderful time I had personally. Rise Up, especially Jenny and Micah, who were, I think, in charge of the exhibition part, cared so much about making the language come alive in the space. About putting my materials primarily in the language. And we quite often have in Cornwall a problem where everything's in English, and if you want it in Cornish, you might get it if you're lucky and if you ask hard enough. Whereas the information was there in Cornish, and if you went and asked, you could see it in English. So that was just beautiful. And that is hard to conjure, even in a space that is just Cornish speakers. It's hard to conjure this kind of atmosphere where English is not the default language. Yeah, and I think also I really wanted to highlight as well the sort of different feeling for me as a minoritized artist. I think quite a lot of minoritized languages represented here perhaps have this kind of vivid, if struggling language community, and you're fighting kind of for space at a fair to set up your stall so that people will see it. Whereas for me, Cornish is still recreating that language community, and we're still building the stall and painting the stall and setting and trying to get it together before all the space gets filled up. So it's a bit of an interesting, we're sort of, whilst we have a very vibrant cultural life, a lot of that is not yet fully connected to the language in kind of the way I would like it to be. Yeah, that's a little ramble from me about the art, what I done.
Thank you so much, Leanne. It was lovely to hear from you. Also from our side, we had a fantastic time in Cornwall. Thank you so much. Leanne is a multimedia artist as well. So when we were there, she was just reading from her new poetry book, which you can also find, which we linked in the Instagram post as well if you want to check it out. So yes, thank you so much for sharing all your different modes of art as well with us. And of course, if you have any questions for Leanne, you can ask them as well in the creative salons. And now we're going to hear a bit more from Tiano. Do you want to share your screen or should we do it?
I'll try to do it just one more time to see if it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just give me a second.
I also want to give a big shout out to our sign language interpreters. Thank you for staying a little bit longer. We will soon be done with the just interpreting part. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Can you see it now?
Now we can see it.
Okay, great. So I'm Tano Cardova. I'm 28 years old, a graphic designer based in Skopje, North Macedonia. And I represented the Romanian community in the Rise Up traveling exhibition. For those who do not know, Romanians are indigenous to the Balkans. The Romanian language is a Romance language spoken in the Balkans, mainly in Greece, North Macedonia, Romania, Albania, Serbia, Bulgaria. And it's preserved primarily to family transmission, so it's an mostly oral language. What can I say here is that we are recognized as minority only in North Macedonia as part of the constitution, while there is a small recognition in Albania as well. I think it was a recent change. While ironically, that is the countries where we are the least. There is a list of population Romanian there, so we are around 10,000 people in North Macedonia and around, I would think, 5 or less than 5,000 in Albania, while the rest of the communities, which are quite larger, they are still not recognized as a minority, but they work really hard, and you can, I think they're far more active than the countries that Romanians are recognized in. So this was actually, as a graphic designer, I work mostly as a commercial graphic designer and do designs that pay my bills, while the other part of my graphic design is really connected to visual activism, but it's mostly connected to political situation and political opinions. I work a lot with the gender equality, LGBTQ plus rights, political situation in my country. And this was the first time I ever did something in my own native language, in Romanian, because I have separated my Romanian activism, let's call it like that, from my graphic design work. And I founded an NGO, and we work really hard to promote the Romanian culture to young people. And this was the first time I did something that blended both my graphic design part and my Romanian heritage. My artwork was called Arădățini, which in the Romanian dialect from Kruševo means roots. The word can really, you can find Zarațini, Rădățini, but this is, I use the original Romanian dialect from Kruševo, where I come from. So it is really inspired by my personal roots and by the community's own story and journey. I use the collage technique for this one. It's a poster design. And I started from, I would go from the bottom to the top. I started with a woman, one woman, particularly here a mother, which is a key figure through whom culture and language are transmitted and preserved in our community. And I think they are the most valuable part of our families, because of them we still have the language. Our Romanians used to be nomads in the past, and so women spent a lot of time with the children and passed on the tradition, the culture, and the language as well. Also, you can see here I have mountains, which is connected to our nomad style of living, which was central to Romanian life by shaping mobility, the pastoral tradition, and cultural identity. Next, I have a family photo, because, as I said, a Romanian language is a family language, first of all. So it is the primary space where we used and we learn the language, and it's transmitted across generations and through everyday life and oral traditions. As we go up here, you can see these small drawings, which are part of Moscopole. For those who do not know, Moscopole used to be a town, a major economical and cultural center for Romanians in Albania. It was very very progressive town and developed town for the period, but unfortunately, due to politics, it was completely destroyed by Ali Pasha from Yanina. This is the Ottoman period, and that meant that every Romanian from that region, and mostly from Western Greece, had to leave the region. So that's why we moved up to the Balkans, and that's how my town was formed, Kruševo, which is the highest town in North Macedonia, and currently the only town in the world where a Romanian has the status of an official language. So it's also a very major Macedonian town that is deeply connected to the Romanian culture. Like, it's the first symbol that comes to your mind if you are a Romanian from North Macedonia. So I wanted to end with my town, and you can see here a small heart, which is exactly where my grandparents' houses used to be, and it's like a small Easter egg, let's say, in the poster. And I also ended with the sun, which is the main symbol of the Romanians. You can see it on the flag, in the architecture, in in almost every visual identity that our Romanians have. So I can say that this exhibition was really like a wake-up call for me because, as I said, I've never worked as a graphic designer in a Romanian, except when I do the designs for my organization, but that is just a formal graphic design part. This was really a wake-up artistic call, and I think I'm very eager to explore more that part of me as an artist. And also now I'm developing a merch for our organization because we find it as a way to connect to younger people, to the youth population. And we were really inspired by the event that we had in Skopje, where the exhibition took part in Europe House Skopje. It was on the 11th of June last year. And we, for the first time, I can say for the first time in our 35 years of history in North Macedonia, we had so many young Romanians and young participants in one program, because the current situation in our country is that it's really a Romanian community is led mostly by the elder people, really an older generation, working closely only with folklore, old traditions, and it's not very appealing to young Romanians. And we really have a quite low situation with the language. No one really speaks that much. So we have only our grandparents that still speak Romanian language to a higher level, and the rest of us either know barely some words or really struggling, let's say, with vocabulary, writing, reading, etc. So this was really one beautiful event that we had. We had poetry performances, we had discussion with a university professor, Anna, about how important is one language and how language is our identity, and we should take care about that. You can see really we had from 7 to 77, actually. This is from 2 years old to 90 years old, the Romanians that came with us. And we had a beautiful, beautiful evening. Thanks to Micah, Jenny, and Eva for being there for us, for really helping us with everything. And I can say it was an amazing night. It really changed our direction as an organization as well, because we saw that there is still there potential, that there are people that want to work with us. There are people who want to create like poetry, music, and we will fight for them to find their place in the Macedonian cultural space. So, Haristo, thank you.
Haristo, thank you. Enormous what both you and Leanne created, the artworks. Every time we were there as well, you know, we had people guessing which artwork belongs to which community, and people were always so intrigued by everything, like pointing out little details. Nobody caught the Easter egg, I have to say, but thank you for telling us about this. So yes, thank you so much for contributing. And now for the sign language interpreters, please, Tina, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think clapping in sign language is like this, right?
That is correct. That is
That is
correct.
correct. Okay, then I would suggest maybe we could take one group picture where all of us are clapping. Yes, once we have closed the screen sharing, so we can see everybody. And then we have one final picture also with everybody who's still here, and then we're going to move into the creative salon. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. This time I'm not the one taking the picture, so I'm actually really chill about this. This is really nice. I think this might be the first time that I don't have the same facial expression. So thank you. And thank you so much to our interpreters for joining us. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. And especially because they joined us at rather short notice. So hugely appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.